Thank you for joining us. This is the What's New in G Suite webinar presented by Refractive in association with G Suite Tips. Firstly, to introduce myself, my name is Steve Adams. I'm a senior consultant here at Refractive here in the UK, and I'm a Google certified deployment specialist. And I'll be working with you here for the next 25-30 minutes, and we're going to work through our agenda. So we're going to touch on a little bit about what I call the culture of innovation and all the change that's going on. We're going to look at some administrative features, so in the admin panel. We're going to look at some user features, so more user-oriented. And then we'll do a little wrap-up at the end with some question and answer as well. And stay tuned for some special offers. So our first slide here is really talking about a culture of innovation, and this is something that Google talk about really, and that you can utilize in your organization, but also as part of being a G Suite user and a G Suite client. There is a constant state of change. I expect anyone who's alive in 2019 will and is using technology will be aware of that, and how things are changing all the time. And I'm old enough to remember in IT when things rolled out at a much more glacial pace of change. So in our home lives, with the technology we use at home and of course at work, things are constantly changing. And one of the challenges, is how to take advantage of the opportunities presented by new technologies, new methods. Things you can do: you can stay secure. It's an arms race. The bad guys are out to get you. You need to keep ahead of them, or at least as up to date as you can do. And Google have a great reputation, rightly so, for helping their clients use their tools well and stay secure. So top of my list, security. Getting the most from your employees, helping your employees be productive, be efficient, maybe even enjoy their lives working for you, and enjoying using great tools rather than not great tools. And of course, maximizing the value. Maximize the value of your investment, both in the technology, so licenses and equipment, and also the investment you make in your staff to give them the best tools to help them do their jobs. And you can take advantage of this constant innovation and all the new tools that are coming through, obviously, by using the tools well. And if you last had some training a couple of years ago, a lot's happened in the last couple of years, even in the last year, even in the last 6 months, constantly evolving and changing. I'll just mention as well, you may have seen that Google, for the first time ever, as far as I'm aware, have recently announced a price rise for the basic and the business package. I think it's about a 20% rise. We're waiting to hear exactly what the prices are in the UK. But, I think it reflects their confidence in the product and the value that's being produced by the product and the value for the clients that are using it. So moving on, let's do some demos. So the first area I'd like to talk about is administration. So this is for all the admins out there or people that are interested in the admin side of things. First one, quite an easy one. The Google sign-in page has now been updated, and I've just got a link to a blog article because you may not remember what it used to look like. So I'm going to click through here, and this is the G Suite updates blog, and it's nicely announcing this. So you may have noticed, you should have noticed, that this is the new sign-in page. Okay, and you may have forgotten what the old one looks like by now, but that's what it did look like. So that would have been familiar with this for some time. And it's just changed. And just a word on this, whilst this is sort of a trivial change, it's mostly about design. We're constantly telling users to be careful about phishing sites, about bogus sign-in pages. So as this changes, this was notified to clients through the announcements, things like this updates blog. And good practice would be to let your users know in advance that the sign-in page they use every day is going to look different. And if they notice a difference, that would be great. But it isn't a phishing site. It's not suspicious. It's coming soon, and it will be with you soon. But a fairly trivial change, but could have big implications if people feel not confident about logging in. But that's live now already. Switching back to my slides. Improved group management. So again, this is for the admins out there. If we have a look here in my panel, okay, I'm in the admin panel, I'm in the group section. I preloaded a bunch of tabs here, so we haven't got to wait for things. So you can now manage groups through this new interface, and I'll show you some of the advantages here. So I've clicked through to my test group number 1. Okay, we can see group information. I can click through for there, and we can make changes in here by clicking the edit button, and also we can add aliases. So groups can have aliases as well as normal users, and we can edit that there. I'm going to move back here and click on test group 1. I can change the membership here. Okay, and it's much more like the membership interface for users, for groups. And we can also, if I roll over here, we can do a bulk upload. So you could create a CSV, you can download a blank CSV template or the current member list in a CSV file, edit it in Sheets and then upload it again, attach it and upload in bulk. So it's a nice feature, something you couldn't previously do. And then something where there's an awful lot of value is in the settings here. I've just had a note to say if I can zoom in a little. So I'm just going to change my settings on my screen. Just bear with me. I'm just going to zoom in the display a bit if I can find it. Please bear with me. I'm hoping that's going to look a bit better. I've just zoomed it in a bit. So let's just see. Okay, I was going to show you here in the groups interface, the settings. Now, if anyone who's ever done this before, you'll know how awkward it can be getting the settings correct in the groups interface. So now in the admin panel interface, you can edit these settings and become a lot clearer about the different rights that different people can have. So for example, publishing posts, which is essentially be able to post to the group, which means distribute emails if you like. If I want to make that external to the world, I can just click here and then that's then live, and anyone on the internet could now actually send an email to this email address and it would be received. So I could save that change. So I'm going to move on. That was groups. Go back to my slides and see what the next thing is. Talk a little bit about new team drive roles. So there's been a slight change here. If you're familiar with team drives are available in business and enterprise. Here's one I prepared earlier. So I'm in team drives, just to open that up. Okay, and I'm in one called webinar. And I've got some content in here. And within here, I have 3 members. I'm going to click on here. We've got myself as the manager. I've got Dawn, who's a content manager, and Sean, who's a contributor. Okay, and if I click here, we can see what the different roles are. So a manager can manage all the settings and add members. Okay, so a manager of a team drive, has full access to it. A content manager can add, edit, and move and delete things. So it has all access to the content, but can't change the settings of the team drive, and they can't add other users, for example. A contributor can add and edit files and remove files as well. Okay. A commenter would get comment access, so they could come in and view things. They could take part in comment discussions of documents and sheets, etc., within the team drive. And a viewer obviously would get view access. So these have been slightly changed with the manager and the content manager and the contributor role. That's the main difference. You can lock it down a little bit or open it up a little bit without giving somebody full access as a manager. You can also access these settings as through the admin panel if you've got super admin rights within the admin panel. I'm going to go back to my slides, check what I was going to do next. Okay, email log search, spam reporting. This is a little bit arcane, but if you've ever used this, you'll notice the difference. If you've never used it, then you won't. But I think this is my next tab here. So again, I've preloaded a report within the email log search. If you've not seen that before, it's under reports, email log search. You need to have admin rights, obviously, to get to the admin panel and to get to the reports. I've done a search already for something I know I've already discovered. There's got some spam reported. So you might be doing this because a user has told you that they've had an email with a spam, or they've got a problem with with spam being sent to them. So if I click on this one, which again I know has got the results I'm looking for because of previous investigation, if I click on here, the difference now is spam classification details. The message was considered spam. The message contains suspicious content. So there's not a great deal of information there, but there's a little bit more information there about spam. And that's what that update is. So I'm just sort of covering off here things that have been announced and released and rolled out and now live over the last sort of 6 months, really. Let's pop back into here. The G Suite Security Center, which is this one. The Security Center and the dashboard. Now, this actually could be a whole webinar in itself. And in fact, it's one of the things we're thinking about offering in one of the future webinars. So I am going to rush through this very quickly. You can see there's these cards here with security and related messages and things that would be of interest. So it is called a dashboard. It has, got the dashboard approach, encryption, message delivery, spam filter. And if you're taking an active role in managing a G Suite environment, then this is a great tool. We should point out this is only available in the enterprise edition of G Suite. You're not going to find it in basic or business. The domain that I'm working on actually isn't very interesting. It's a demo domain, so there is some activity, but it's not like a real thriving domain with hundreds of users on it. I can click through, though, and show you. So I can click through, let's say, what does external file sharing look like for the domain? Click through, and it will load up. I'm currently looking for the last 7 days. You can change that. Let's look for this month, and we'll obviously change the results there. We can see a big spike of activity. So somebody shared a folder, it looks like there, with 110 things. Anyone with the link, that might be considered scary, or it might be considered fine. I could export the sheet so that get that information into a spreadsheet. And also I can drill down here and I can start to look at information about individual files, anything I'm concerned about. DLP rules in this report can also be brought in. That's data loss prevention. Nothing relevant for that one. So really, I'm just going to go back to dashboard. This could be a half-hour webinar in itself, and I'm not going to get sidetracked too much by looking at all these reports. I'll just dive into another one and you'll get the feel. And you can start to see if you were looking for, just to check that things look right, or if you're looking for anomalies, you can be using these tools in a very sophisticated way. But that's it, just a quick teaser to show you that one. I'm going to go back to my slides again now. And I'm going to look at the Alert Center. Now, the Alert Center, general availability now, I think I've got on this one here. This domain has got no alerts, which is not very exciting. Not a great demo. So what I've actually got is Google did a blog entry on this, and here's an animated GIF that should be running now. So I'm not driving this. My hands are off the mouse, but this is just an example. If there was something interesting going on, you got access to the Alert Center. I'll just let this GIF run through. So clicking through to the Investigation Center, and it lets you drill down and investigate, whatever it is, whatever case you're after. So in this case, this demo, if you like, is deleting messages that are known to contain malicious content. So they've definitely gone out of the system. And that's just the animated GIF run through there. So I'm going to move on, and we're going to talk about communications apps. So this is the first set there was administration, and this is now looking around the user apps. And I've split this into communications and then sort of Drive and Docs. So contacts hover cards for groups. I've got actually a window I'm just going to drag across. I've got an example of that. 1 second. Find my window. Here it is. So here's an email, and this has been sent to a group called Refractive in our company. And if I hover over there, okay, I'll hover off and it will go away. And I'll hover over, it'll come up. And this is new. It's now because this was sent to a group, staff at Refractive. We've got the names of the people plus 8 more there. I can click through, and it's clicked me through to look at the actual group in the Groups app. I'm just going to close that down. But as I hover over this, I can click more info, which again would take me to the same place as the 8 more. But I could also click here and send an email to everybody. And this, I quite like this one. If I click this one, I should open up a new window in the calendar. And you can see that it's got me as the organizer, and then it's got all of the staff there that have come through. And I could create an event based upon that. I'm going to back out of that one and discard it, and just close down my calendar. Okay, so that was the hover cards there for groups, distribution list type groups. Okay, let's go for the next thing. So the next one I've got is Smart Compose in Gmail. So you may have seen this before. This has been out for a little while, but I just thought I'd show you this again. So here I am reading an email that's been sent to me talking about a meeting next week. Now, you've got the smart replies. Probably you're used to that. Some people may have turned them off in settings. You can get to them through settings and turn it on or turn it off if you want them. I quite like these. So if I click into here and say either day works for me, that's going to put that into my email. I'm just going to abandon that one. And if I click reply, I might say, hi, and you can see this name, this user is called DLP user, but you can see it's filled that in. And if I hit the right arrow, it will fill it in. And I can just try and think of some text that will hopefully work. Thanks for your, and you can see it's filling in your email. I think Wednesday would be best. Let me know. Oh, it's not doing it for me now, but I'm trying to do text that would actually I'm hoping it's going to pick. There you go. Let me know what's, and I was going to type best for you or something like that. So it's typing ahead. And as you start to use this more and more in your real account, it starts to understand the kinds of phrases that you use and eerily gets it right. Okay. So that's smart replies and smart typing. Oh, sorry, Smart Compose. Okay, I'll send that. Seeing as I've done all that work, I'll click send. Okay, so again, the smart reply are the canned responses there, and the smart compose is as you're typing in there. Let's just come back to present mode on here. So the next one we're going to look at is in Hangouts chat. So I'm just going to pop back to that. Just going to drag my slides off here and then present and swap windows this time. So we're going to go to Hangouts chat and let's just swap into here. So here is the new chat, which I think most of you will have seen it. And I've got a couple of conversations going on. Here I'm talking to this user DLP1 again. And he sent me a message saying, hi, are you free on Wednesday? And you can see there are various options here. And again, as you use it in your real account, this is my demo account, but the more you use it, the more this language changes to be the kinds of things that you select and the kinds of things you say. So I might say, yeah, why? Does that sound like me? Possibly. Okay, and hit return. So just quickly, that's the smart replies in Hangouts chat. Let's flip back into my search, into my slides. So the next thing is smart search in chat. So back into here again. If I click into search, there are some nice little features you can look for here. You can look for particular types of documents and things. So I can search for docs, and it surfaces documents that have been shared in that chat. And I think I've got a slide in there as well for my demo. So it's quickly filtering through and finding those types of items inside the chat with this particular user. I could look for mentions of me, okay, within a chat where I've had an app mention as well. And of course, you can do all your normal searching as well with the search bar. So you could look for particular things. Let's just try the word meeting. I think that was in there, was it? No. Can't remember what terms I use now. I think I'll have to turn these off actually, and then my general search would work. Turn off the search. So I think Wednesday was something I could have looked for. Let's have a look for that. And that should turn up that. So wherever that is in the whole of the history of this conversation, go to thread. It will take you to that part of the thread. So that's the sort of normal search, and then you've got the smart search where you can look for these particular things. Let's flip back to here. Calendar attachments in Hangouts Meet. Yeah, this is nice. Here's one I prepared earlier on here. I've got an event here, and you can see that it's got a couple of items that have been added. One is a link to the slides we're using today, and one is a logo. So I'm now just going to join the Hangout. Might see me for a second. Hello. Turn off the camera, turn off the mic, and I'm going to join the meeting. And what you can see now under here is obviously you've got the normal stuff where you can copy the joining info and ping it to somebody in an email or a message or something. But you can also click attachments, and then you've got access to the attachments. I'll click on this one. That one happens to be a PNG with the image in, and there you go. So that's new. Quite nice feature. You turn up for the meeting, and then if someone's added all the attachments, they're nicely available within the meet. Just close that one down. The next thing is the ruler for which we've got displayed here. So we're in a Google Doc, and if I look at view, we can see we've got show ruler. If I turn that off, click, the ruler goes away, and view, show ruler, and it's on. That's always been there. But now if I click within a normal part of the document, you see the ruler as it is. But if I click within here within a table, you get these little dots appearing, and you can start to use the ruler, and you can see the on the left hand side there in the black bubble, you've got the actual measurements there, so you can be much more careful and meticulous with where the edges of your tables are. Not sure I've got the best example here, but you can get the idea of that. That's new. That's a new feature. Might make a big difference to somebody's world. Let's just flip back into here. So that was the Google Doc there with the table. Non-Google Calendar users, there's an update on this actually. I'll just click through to this. This is quite dry and hard to explain, but what this update tells us about is that there are people that are not using G Suite and are not using Google Calendar will get updates every time you make a change to an event. It will cause a notification email to flow to ensure that they get updated, because previously sometimes some of those things didn't get updated, and so someone's calendar entry was out of date. If that's of interest to you, I recommend you go and find this. It was announced in October, calendar users. Let's move back into here. And I'm moving on to Drive and Docs. I think I did one of my Drive ones just now, actually, but let's look at the activity dashboard. This is in Docs, Sheets, Slides, etc. I'm actually going to show you it in this document. So I'm going to show you it actually in another version of this. Let's bring this across. Okay, so this is the slides that we're using today. It's in my real account where I created it rather than my demo account. That's why I switched to this one. And if I click on the activity dashboard here, it's this little zigzaggy arrow. Okay, and it will show you activity over time. So I can click here on shared with. You can see all the people that have shared with it and who's opened it and when. Okay, I can also look at all the viewers in the last hour this morning, people. That's Kate, who's helped organize this webinar. And there's a trend, nice little trend line here. Obviously, with a document with more people involved, actively looking at it, you can maybe slightly more interesting, but you can see sort of the history of who's been looking at things. And then under privacy settings, you can actually say, allow this to be seen by other people. So you can turn some of this off if you want to. Document editors known as can see the history of this file, or I can turn that off. And you access that in all of the apps via the little activity dashboard link there. So I'm just going to close this version down and go back into this one, back to present mode. Vertical ruler, I got out of sync, didn't I? Vertical ruler for table management, I've just shown you that. Automatic real-time captions in Google Slides. Now, this is great. I'm going to turn it on. This is magic. Turn on the captions, and then I've got to be careful how I speak. So I've rolled down to the bottom of the slides, and you get this black bar. Turn on the captions, and it listens to what you're saying, and it puts it on the screen. And I saw this when they were using it at Google Next in the autumn, and it was a very, very clever demo, because all of the demos that we were doing and the speeches that were being given were all being translated simultaneously. Well, not translated, they were actually being transcribed into captions in the way that you're seeing here. Makes you very self-conscious when you realize your words are coming out in front of you. I'll leave it on for a bit because I'm brave. So that's that. Copy formatting in Google Slides. Let's edit my slides here. So I'm going to kick that out of the mode we were in there. I'm just going to go back, let's say, to this slide, and I'm going to mark up a bunch of text, and let's just do something simple that's easy to understand. So I'm going to change the color of the text to bright red. Okay, and then I can click on the little roller here and select the thing that I'm after. Sorry, I've just done that wrong. Let me back out again. I practiced this and said I would get it right. I'm going to make the change, make some text red. Okay, then I click once on the roller, and I take that to where I want to do an update. So I'm going to click on this one. I then, while the roller's there, you can see the paint roller, as it were, I'm going to highlight this text and let go, and then I bring the same formatting with me. And that will work on various different types of formatting actions. I've picked you'd have thought, simple to do one for my slides, despite messing it up first time. But you can do that with all the different formatting options, or many of the different formatting options. Moving back to where I was in my slides, let's just go back into present mode again and zip through here. Making embedded Google Forms better. So I've got an example here in my demos. This is a Google site in Google Sites, and what you can do is insert various types into here. One is a form, so I can go and select a form. Let's have a look here what it's going to present to me. So I think I was looking at this one I liked, new feature request. So I've popped it in here. I can drag it across and drag it down a little bit. So this is no different really from what we'd seen before, but what will happen is, just close this down. If I look at this in preview mode, then the presentation of this is more sympathetic to the actual background and color and things that were in the Google site. And I can preview it in tablet mode, see what it looked like on a tablet, scrolling within the form, and on a mobile phone. It's done its best to render it in the website and the form in a mobile-friendly way. And that's just a bit slicker than what it was previously. So I think, just about on time, that's got me through my my items. I've just been talking about embedded Google Forms, and we're at about half an hour now, so we're ready to wrap up. So I just want to mention again the culture of innovation, the constant change. Is the new normal, is what I say to my clients. Get used to it. To take advantage of this technology and the methods it allows you to use in your job, you can. I always put first security, stay secure, get the most from your employees, and maximize the value of the investment. A great place to keep up with this is the G Suite Updates blog. That's the URL, not hard to find if you put G Suite Updates into Google. And you can obviously follow that on social media. You can subscribe to emails from there, and you can obviously follow via RSS feeds as well if you're using RSS readers. So we would just like to say, in order to keep up with everything, you might want to and get full value for your investment, you might want to get help. And that's where we would like to think we come in. We offer support services, we offer consulting services, we offer training services. So these are the services I've just been talking about. And I am told by my colleague Kate, who's organized this event today, on behalf of Refractive and G Suite Tips, that we've got some offers that will going out for attendees today. Thank you very much for attending. And we've got some offers that we'll be putting out to you with some discounted services and things. So I'll let that come out to you in the email. And my final slide is a big question mark. So let's just have a look. Kate's been compiling them. Vertical rulers in docs. There's a question about that, but I think I've shown it. So I think I've shown that quite well, but I'll just go back over that if you like. That was from Andrew. And then Chelsea has asked, is excited about the CC in slide, the closed captions in slides. Yeah, cool. So that's not so much a question as a celebration. Thank you, Chelsea. Yeah, it's cool, isn't it? Shall I turn it on again? So Andrew, I'm not sure if I've answered your question properly, but let's just see if I can just go back again to my demo page. Where was I? Here it was. So this is what I was showing here, where you can drag here if you turn the ruler on. And obviously you've got to turn the ruler on from the view menu. So I think if that's all the questions, thank you very much for attending. I'll just go back to the first slide to finish on. And I'd like to say thank you very much for attending. This will be made available via, it will be on YouTube. I think it will be publicly available is the intention. And there will be a follow-up email from Kate to let you know what's going on and what those offers are. And we intend to run another one. I think it's monthly at the moment. So we're looking for ideas on that. And if you've got any ideas about particular things you'd like to see and hear about, we'd love to hear from you. And so with that, I'd like to say again, thank you for attending, and hopefully see you on the next one. Thank you very much indeed.